Hello and good evening, everyone, to Tier 2, to what I believe is the final race here in Tier 2 for not just this season, but I believe it might be the final race on a Tuesday. So hopefully we can all go out on a high and have a good season finale, obviously, after 12 long rounds where obviously Vigo won the championship, and there is still time for him to extend that championship lead to a even greater distance, of course, for himself, given his situation, of course. So yeah, of course, um, hopefully it will be a successful final round, of course, of the season, and for Vigo and Storms and for AlphaTauri, it is one last chance to have a battle on the track, and maybe also Limited Danny as well too. Just one last chance for them drivers to have a final battle on track, even though I don't know if Limited Danny is here. But yeah. Nonetheless, of course, ultimately, China, we did this track last night, had a epic championship finale. Which towards the end was becoming a bit anticlimactic, but a late safety car is exactly what we needed to, spring that championship fight into life towards the end of the race. And it came down not just to the last lap, but to the very last corner of the last lap, where Stewart, of course, took his championship in very nice style indeed after making a late pass late on in the day to deny, of course, sadly, Appledorn of his championship, where he missed out by a point. But, of course, for the championship tonight, we know it's all done, so this is literally just a race for pride and honour, and hopefully, with 20 laps around China, we can have a rather successful one. And there's no qualifying tonight, so I'm not sure what the grid order is going to be. I think we might be doing a reverse grid race or whatever it is, but nonetheless it is lights out and away we go. And for the first time ever, it is Mufasa on pole position, and you know what, he's got a good start from pole position, and he's actually maintained the lead from pole position into the first corner, so that is an excellent start then from Mufasa. Then comes just Colpillo trying to move around the outside of Dandan, and looks like he's got the job done. Ralphie has had, by the looks of it, a bit of a wobble, and that obviously sees Ralphie under pressure from Iron Kid down into turn 4. A few cars going off in the background. I think that's Litz and Piano Jam having a bit of a collision between themselves, but otherwise all good on this opening lap of the race between the 12 of them here. And it is ultimately, so far, so clean. And of course, tomorrow testing starts. Forgot to say that. But nonetheless, that's unimportant. This is more important than pre-season testing. And I'll tell you what's more important than pre-season testing is Ralphie going up the inside of Storms at turn number 10, that is, but I think Dandan has he had a bit of a wobble. I think he may have done, but look at Storms now going around the outside of then, I think that's Dandan, or at least he's in the tow, and Slipstream AlphaTauri's also there too, coming down the main straight, or back straight, and here goes AlphaTauri. Is he going to try and attempt a bit of a lunge into the hairpin? The answer's no, stays behind, but has now got past Storms in that first lap, but Storms is coming back at AlphaTauri, or AlphaTauri, of course, and there is Storms. I'm going to actually turn down my volume quickly a second, only because I had it up, any reason, because I was doing some time trial today, but right, that'll be a little bit better when we go on board with the cars. There we go. So, right, through then the first chicane, or not chicane, through the first left, right, then once again lap to the race of 20. Of course, it is only a 20 lap race, so therefore, in terms of strategy, won't be too much strategy, I don't think, involved. It'll be just pretty simple soft to mediums or mediums to softs, whichever preference and order you prefer doing it. Of course, there is benefits starting on the softs. You will have initially the pace to go attack, but of course during the latter phase of the stint, the mediums will become good. And in terms of when you do come in for a pit, of course, then you'll see drivers on those mediums later on going on the softs will have the upper hand over the mediums eventually. But yeah, I think tyre wear should be pretty good. But Mufasa so far currently holding on to that race lead. Storm's had a spin there in the background out of turn number 10 or 9, I think it is, whichever one it is. But there we go, here comes then Just Cold Pillow going for the overtake down the inside, makes the move nice and cleanly as well for good measure. Also, Ralphie's going to attempt the pass around the outside into the final corner and goes around the outside. That's a lovely move from the Williams driver to take the race P2 off Mufasa then. And that is Mufasa ultimately behind now, down to third, but still is remarkably holding on to a podium, which is absolutely fantastic to see. Iron Kid being put under a bit of pressure now by Ralph Atari. Right now, Vigo, your champion, down in 9th at the moment, so hasn't made really too much of an impact so far in this race. And, of course, he's going to be looking to get a bit further up the grid. So, Iron Kid right now battling away with Ralph Atari 4P4. And if Ralph Atari can get through, will be Ferrari 2 in a row then there. But Mufasa as the lead Ferrari driver. So, can he get past Iron Kid? Iron Kid, will he have the DRS to defend? I don't think so. I think he's outside that second. And therefore, this should be a fairly straightforward and simple pass for the other Ferrari man of Ralph Atari. You can see no DRS active for obviously Iron Kid, but there is DRS active for Ralph Atari. But we get to the end of the straight and Iron Kid has managed to remain ahead. So it does seem like the McLaren then has a good decent amount of straight line pace, at least down that straight at least. But through the next straight, looks like Ralph Atari's got an excellent exit, but this time Iron Kid does have a bit of DRS to defend with for good measure, and therefore that is going to help Iron Kid out a little bit. And yep, by the time we get to the next end of the straight, it's going to be still Iron Kid ahead, but Ralph Atari trying to attempt the pass around the outside, but will have the inside for the next part of the corner. But Ralph Atari is on the inside, Iron Kid still on the outside, still got his car there. So it's a straight dogfight into turn number 4, and as we get to turn 4, they're still side by side, out of 4, through then 5 and 6. Then Iron Kid with the outside line. Surely he's going to get outpaced there. This is a fantastic side-by-side battle going on through 7. Still side-by-side as we get into 8 and 9. So through 8, 9, 10. And it's still Iron Kid side-by-side with Ralph Atari. But Iron Kid somehow comes out on top then there. And that is a fantastic bit of racing between the two of them. Absolutely fabulous. And what you want to see. Iron Kid and Ralph Atari really going at it perfectionately there, or perfectly, literally with one another, literally giving each other just enough room to race and not, you know, bumping into each other. But Iron Kid's going to send it down the inside, a late move, gone off the track there from Iron Kid. That's probably the opposite of what you want to see, ultimately. And now Iron Kid has picked up a 3-second penalty, fair enough for that. And that then sees Iron Kid, well, up into the podium for now, but soon taken away by Ralph Atari. Ralph Atari now up to 3rd. So after a lap of all of that, Iron Kid still remains in 4th. Mufasa down to now 5th. They've literally just swapped around. Going also in the background, got a bit of a fight going on between Dan and Kotos and Vigo. Kotos going for it round the outside of Mufasa. He's got the braking right, but has he got the exit and the traction? It looks like he has, and he's going to get the position. Same with Vigo. Vigo's also might have a look at the going for the move on Mufasa, is he? The answer to that is no. But Mufasa is now down to 6th. Then in this race, starting to go a little bit backwards for the Ferrari driver. And next up is going to be Vigo trying to make a move on Mufasa now. So what can Vigo do? Oh, Vigo don't need to do anything. Mufasa has, yeah, unfortunately, not finished today's race. So, yeah, that is Mufasa out of this race, unfortunately. And after a really good start from pole, that is, well, the end of Mufasa's race today. Yeah, I see that, Dave. It does turn out you cannot finish today, of course, which ultimately, unlike yesterday, you did. But yeah, could be worse. Oh well, it was great racing anyway. I hope you had fun. It was good racing whilst it lasted. Anyway, we have now got a safety car. A first safety car in this race. Drivers have come in. The only one staying out, interestingly, is Kotos, who has decided to not pit on those 5-lap pole mediums. Piano Jam has gone, intriguingly, for the softs, so he thinks there could be a bit more safety car and trouble in this race. But otherwise, everyone opting mainly for hards, besides also Storm's gone on to a set of mediums. So, and Ralphie's gone on to mediums too. So, them two going on to mediums. I mean, to be fair, we shouldn't have any more stops to the end of the race, unless we get another safety car, of course. Then we will. Kotos obviously will have to make his stop at some point, I believe. Unless he made his stop on lap 1. Just going to check. No, he hasn't. So, only Kotos is required to make a stop during this race. Here then. So, safety car should be in towards the end of this lap, then here. And when the safety car does come in, it'll be Kotos who will restart this field. And what will he do? When will he go? So that is the safety car in this lap message. So safety car will return to the pits now, and once it does, then Kotos can get us back to the racing green and back to racing conditions for what will be effectively the second, well, we're about 1/3 through the race, I'd say. So, or almost 1/3. So this will be the second third of the race to come after he restarts. And right now, Ralphie is probably your race leader from Pillow. Then it'll be Ravatari in third. Fourth is Iron Kid at the moment in a net fourth. Then fifth is Litz, and sixth will be Piano Jam. Seventh would be Vigo Dandan still in eighth. Then it'll be Storms ninth, and then Bouncy in 10th. This is once Kotos makes his stop. So, he's gone now, and he's led them out the final corner. Has he got a good restart on Ralphie? The answer is, to somewhat of a degree, yes. Not maybe the biggest gap you would say he could have built there, but he did build a bit of a gap, 5/10 after crossing the line, and is away cleanly still as your race leader then here in this race. Of course, still got to make his stop though. So, where is the action? The action looks like it might be a little bit behind here. The Piano Jam going a little bit wide through turn 2, but doesn't really put himself in any danger. Of course, he's on those fresh softs, therefore should be the quickest car, at least for a short period of time during this restart phase of the race, I would suspect. So he might be the one we want to keep an eye on. And is he going to go around the outside of then Litz into turn number 9? Did have a think of it, but in the end a little bit of a punt there from Litz, and in the end that, well, of course doesn't really matter in the end I suppose, but did lose position for Litz there in that one, and yeah, that's then Litz down to 10th or 11th. And that's, of course, Piano Jam also losing the position. But Rafatari getting overtaken by Iron Kid. Probably not the best angle there, but Iron Kid, is he going to go for it on also Kotos? No, but did have a think, I think he did. And then Rafatari come back at him, back at the braking zone in that situation. But that's Iron Kid, probably back onto the podium once, obviously, Kotos is about to get dethroned off this podium here in just a second, because Kotos has already lost 2 positions on this race restart after 2 laps, and you can see how much more pace that Iron Kid and Rafatari just have, and yeah, these two are, well, pedaling along quite nicely here. And Rafatari going up the inside. We've seen this happen before, where these two have gone side by side through this section of track, and they're going side by side again, but this time it's Rafatari coming out on top, and Iron Kid being put behind into 5th then, with that 3-second penalty, of course, to his name as well for good measure. So that is then Iron Kid down to 5th, now with the Ego behind, but now Rafatari looking to try and make this move on Kotos as quickly as possible, and also I think Vigo might be trying to have a bit of a look at on Iron Kid as well, so let's watch out for that also. Right, there goes then Iron Kid as well on then Rafatari. Rafatari hasn't got any DRS, not that I can visibly see, so Rafatari's going to lose down to 5th. Now Kotos gone a bit deep there into the corner and loses then 4th, well, 3rd and 4th and 5th to, obviously, Rafatari and Iron Kid. Iron Kid now is the one leading. Now it'll be Rafatari, I think, with the DRS, is it? Or why are they not using any DRS? I'm not entirely sure. This has to be some sort of glitch, then, I'm going to assume. But look at Vigo going up the inside there. That's a bold move, and it's going to pay off, is it, for him? I think here, potentially. Yes, it is. Rafatari then down to 6th momentarily, but it's now going to be Kotos down in 6th, and all of that scrapping away has now led then, well, Rafatari to lose out the most here of the 3, because Vigo has probably been the biggest beneficiary of it all between this fighting. He's up to 4th, he won't have any complaints, and he's now trying to chase down Iron Kid for what will be P3, and if he can get past Iron Kid, well, that'll be the first time of today he's up into the top 3, and maybe he can go chase down then the front 2 of Cold Pillow and Ralphie. Now, Iron Kid will give Vigo the DRS. Because DRS, I do believe, is enabled. We've had, what, 3 laps of racing, have we not? Unless that's why they didn't use DRS, coming to think of it. No, of course, that might make sense, because DRS is active definitely now, as we can see that rear end slot opening up on Vigo's car. Did move out there, out of the dirty air, but doesn't go for a move on Iron Kid. Chooses just to hang back down that straight. So is he going to get him on the next one? And again, we'll have that DRS to aid him out. Goes to the inside. Iron Kid defends a little bit towards the inside too. A little bit of contact between the pair, but that's all rather clean. And that's Vigo now up into P3, taking the position away from Iron Kid for then 4th place or 3rd place. And that's Iron Kid now on lap 11, down to 4th again. Today so far been his favourite position, 4th. AlphaTauri now trying to move on Iron Kid. And who's going to win out this time between these two? I think Iron Kid's got the better line and got just enough to hold out there. Certainly, AlphaTauri has a look up the inside then. And he's going to go for it again up the inside, just having little looks. Trying to offset maybe Iron Kid there, trying to make his red Ferrari very bright in the rearview mirrors of that orange livery McLaren, of the Papaya orange McLaren. And of course, well, when you are in a Ferrari, I suppose it's a bit more intimidating when you've got a bright red car behind you. However, nonetheless, on this straight, not really going to be much of a threat there from AlphaTauri, just not close enough. Obviously, that's despite Iron Kid did make a mistake out turn 13. So, here then goes AlphaTauri on Iron Kid with the DRS, going to swoop around the outside into turn 1, and I think that's him getting the job done. And that is now Iron Kid down to 5th, AlphaTauri up into P4. So, who is next on track to either overtake or be overtaken? That is the, I suppose, ultimate question. Let's have a little watch of what the leaders are actually doing. So right now, Ralphie leads by 3 tenths to about half a second at the moment. Josh Cold-Pillow following rather closely behind Ralphie then here as well. So Ralphie right now holding on well to that race lead right now. So up the main straight or back straight with the DRS. Also Vigo is actually catching, so I think Vigo is certainly a driver to watch here towards the latter phase of the race. And of course Ralphie did win this race yesterday. Took the victory here at China, so he's certainly no stranger to leading around this place, and he certainly probably knows how to win around it too now as well. But Just Colpillo going to take the position back off then Ralphie, and I think that's the first switch we've seen for the lead. Not this race, but first switch we've seen in a while. But Ralphie going to go back up the inside at turn 2, or turn 1, quite lovely. Took the tighter line and paid off very, very nicely then here to retake the race lead on lap 13. Again though, battling though could be affecting them. Now Kotos still hasn't made his stop, which I think is very much something worthy to note. He's certainly going for a very, very big offset here. I'm not sure it's necessarily the right strategy decision, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see and find out if it pays out for him. So Iron Kid though, hasn't actually broken away from Kotos, which I think is also another thing to note. I would have expected Iron Kid to maybe break away a little bit from the Haas driver, considering he's on, well, younger hard tyres. Effectively, those mediums should be well past our sell-by date, but as we get to the heavy braking zone and the hairpin, Kotos kind of went off the track there, and now Kotos pits. Piano Jam following him in two, obviously on those 7-lap-old softs, so these two might have a fight at some stage today. So Iron Kid now is followed by Storms for that P5. Of course, Storms doesn't have to make the pass. It will either way that position be awarded to him at the end of the race. Then for Storms, that 5th will be. So Kotos has gone to softs, Piano Jam gone to mediums. Now, again, another interesting call from Piano Jam. I would have probably gone softs, considering you've only got, what, 7 more laps to do this season? I mean, it's really not many. Ultimately, it is his call at the end. I'm not going to criticise or complain too much, but yeah, would have gone softs myself. Be a bit bold. You've only got 7 laps to do, or, well, 6 or 7. So, lap 14, and right now Ralphie's still your race leader here then in Tier 2 in ERL for the final race this season on Tier 2 at least, and I believe the final race of the actual tier on a Tuesday, so not really sure if there's anything lined up for next season. Don't think there is on a Tuesday at least. But here we go then for Storms. Can he get past then Iron Kid? Not just take that position away from Iron Kid in the likes of penalties, but also now takes that position away in the likes of passing for him on the actual racetrack. So is Iron Kid now down to 6th and Storms up into 5th. But for Storms, if he does break away, he's in a bit of a no man's land territory at the moment. 10.4 seconds off your race leader. He's about 5 seconds behind the car ahead of him. But, of course, you know, these two don't really have much going on either behind. So, if Storms does pull away here, he is one of the cars, the few cars, that is in a bit of no man's territory. Same with AlphaTauri, I would say, and also Litz as well, definitely Litz. Same with maybe Bouncy as well, maybe. Even though he's being a bit caught, Litz is also kind of just running in no man's territory too, which isn't really the territory you want to run in, of course. You want to run competitively. And Storms has pulled away ever so slightly. However, Iron Kid's still there with the DRS, so that will help Iron Kid gain a bit down that straight, at least. But yeah, it does look like Storms is pulling away ever bit by bit and slightly ever so. So Storms onto this lap has about a 9/10 of a second gap between himself and Iron Kid. Iron Kid's still there within the DRS. So this lap, I suspect Iron Kid will probably fall out of that DRS range as we'll head around then that part of the circuit. And Kotos and Bouncy have both picked up 3 seconds, so that's going to be added to their end race time, which again could affect their race results. And yep, 3-second penalty isn't ideal. So lap then 16, we are now in the final, well, I don't know, 25% I suppose of the race. If, yeah, 25%, heading soon on to lap 16. Right now, very close battle going on for now P2 and P3. You could just see this slowly but surely coming. And yeah, can Vigo take one final win this season to round out his season on a high. Already it's been pretty dominant, but if he can take one more win, I'm sure he'll absolutely love that and be the final race winner this season, of course. But he is going to have to pass some very quick drivers ahead of him of Cole Pillow and Ralphie. And if he can get past them, then fair play. He fully deserves the win. Right now, Ralphie been your race leader ever since Kotos lost the lead. And ultimately, Ralphie has done an absolute marvellous job. We know he won here last night in Tier 1, but tonight in Tier 2, he's looking to make it 2 in a row. For Pillow, he's making, well, he's just looking to make it a win for himself, I suppose. And for Vigo, he's trying to round out this season on a high, considering how good his season overall has been. I mean, probably one of the most dominant drivers so far this season in ERL when it comes to the tiers. He's won this championship by a mile, but can he find a way past to maybe go on and take the race victory then? As well tonight. The only driver probably been a bit more dominant than Vigo has to be CPI Danny. A little bit of contact made between Ralphie and then Colpillo. This is going to look like maybe Vigo having an attempt up the inside of Ralphie, but in the end Ralphie is a bit too wise for it and remains just ahead of then Vigo for right now P2 in this race. But here comes Ralphie back at then Colpillo. Both of these two fighting away for then the lead of the race once again. Who's going to come out on top then? And it is Cole Pillow as we head through turn 2. Pillow still then in the lead. Ralphie still on those 12 lap hole mediums. So maybe the mediums just going off a little bit here and wearing out slightly. Of course, Cole Pillow and Vigo were one of the two out of this top 3 to go on to a set of hards. Whereas Ralphie decided to do the opposite to what these two have done and gone for a bit more of a curveball, soft medium strategy. Of course, the mediums should be fine to get most definitely to the end. Whether or not he'll be able to win the race on their mediums is a completely and entirely another question. Right now, 6/10 though is the gap as we'll head up the main straight. Dandan has retired, so that is him out and will not score obviously points today. Of course, it is though the final race, so again, you know, not really much of a worry there. But here we go then for Vigo. He is going to have probably the better chance of the two as we head up the straight towards then the braking zone. But it is actually going to be then Ralphie trying to make the most of the opportunity. 2 laps to go, and there is literally only 3/4 tenths between them at the moment. 6 tenths splitting all 3 of them at the moment then here. So I feel like Vigo needs to probably find a way through Ralphie if he's going to try and take this win. If not, Ralphie needs to, you know, well, Ralphie could be a bit of the, you know, cork in the bottle at the moment for Vigo and could be blocking Vigo from getting the win. But Ralphie's made a mistake, and that's going to allow Vigo to go on through, and that's going to now allow then Vigo to chase down just Colpillo for the race victory here in ERL tonight for this Tier 2 race. And that is then your last night's race winner, surely done and dusted. So, out of Colpillo and Vigo, which one of the two of them can take this victory? Right now, Vigo is behind by 9/10 of a second. It is Colpillo, still your race leader, by now 8/10. That gap is come down a little bit on this lap. This might go down to the very final lap here in ERL for the second night in a row. That would be incredible stuff to see once again. But here we go then. Colpillo is now just 6/10. So Vigo gaining absolutely rapidly like a monster here in then ERL. Here we go then. Is Vigo going to go for it? He's not going to go for it just yet. Decides just have a little look off the line and then darts back onto the line. in the braking zone. But what can Colpillo do? He needs to drive this lap, this final lap, literally like a qualifying lap, in order to win today's race from Vigo. Any mistake from Colpillo and Vigo will be through, most definitely. So through turn 1, Vigo closing up that gap even ever so more. Through turn 2, a little bit of a wobble there actually as he gets on the power from Colpillo, and that's certainly not going to help his case out for this race win. So how does he deal with turn 4? Looks like he's dealt with it pretty nice and neatly. A little bit of wheel spin getting out the exit of 4 though, still probably costing him a little bit of time. Through then 7 and 8 into then 9 is the next corner. Then we've got turn 10. Then it'll be on to turn 11 and 12. Vigo within about a tenth of a second. So Vigo is absolutely right all over now the Aston Martin gearbox. Surely this is going to be Vigo's win. A little bit of also a bit of a mistake for now Colpillo on the exit of that corner. And that's going to put then Vigo right up the gearbox of then the Aston Martin. Here then goes Vigo going for a move on the Aston Martin. And this is going to be for the race victory. Vigo takes the race lead on the final lap. Hasn't actually led a lap today, but he is going to lead at the most crucial point in time to take the race victory and the final victory of the season. Vigo comes out of the final corner to win and cross the line to take the Chinese victory. Vigo is your race winner. Colpillo takes P2. Ralphie in third. Fourth is Ralphatari. Then it will be fifth for Iron Kid as he'll cross the line now. Sixth goes to then Storms. However, fifth is now Storm. Sixth, then Iron Kid. Kotos down in seventh. Litz will cross the line to take P8. And Piano Jam will cross the line in ninth. And it'll be Valsey crossing the line all the way down in 10th. But fair enough to the lad. Does actually finish this race despite being over almost a minute off the pace here today. In the end there, doesn't give up, which you like to see, to be fair. And that's what it's about, really. Never giving up. And there we go then. That is then the final race of the season complete. And it is Vigo, once again, your race winner here in ERL Tier 2. And deserved driver of the day, has to be said. 100%. Game giving him driver of the day. I'm going to give him driver of the day too. I think he fully deserved it, considering the race he did there to take the win on the final lap. And that then is another victory for the AlphaTauri man, for Vigo. And to cap off his championship winning season, he's been absolutely marvellous this season. And that is then his season done, capping it off on the high and fully deserved. So that's been then ERL Tier 2 complete, and I suppose all I can say is thank you for watching, and until the next time, have a great day and see you all, well, not next season I don't think for Tier 2, because I don't think Tier 2 is happening next season on a Tuesday, but I suppose see you all next season then for Tier 1 on a Monday. If it is still on a Monday, I'm not really too sure, but we'll see you all nonetheless next season very, very soon. Have a great time, and have a great time off, I suppose, until the next season. It's over and out.